Good evening. My name is Robert Pagan. I'm the Associate Director of Alumni Engagement and Annual Fund. Before we begin, a few housekeeping notes. Please keep your microphones muted during the presentation. And if you have questions that arise as the presentation goes on, please put them in the chat area and we will have a question and answer period. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Peter Nwosu, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Student Success, for welcoming remarks.
Thank you very much, Robert, for that introduction. And I do want to begin on behalf of President Dr. Lemons and the college community to welcome you really to this alumni briefing. This is one in a series of events we have planned to engage our alumni across all of our schools, and we have 5 of those schools. The School of Health Sciences, Human Services, and Nursing happens to be the first in our beginning of this important engagement with our alumni. So I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. I also want to thank the Division of Institutional Advancement for really taking the time to organize this event. It does take a lot of time, especially when we're dealing with the COVID pandemic. And in spite of all of your engagements, everyone has been able to join us this evening. So I want to thank you. And I also want to extend the college's appreciation to you and to ask you to be sure you remain safe and well as we go through this crisis today. I am indeed very, very pleased to introduce the Dean of the School of Health Sciences, Human Services, and Nursing. Dr. Elgloria Harrison joined us this fall as the new Dean of the school. She comes to us as an educator, an academic leader, and a clinician with more than 25 years of experience as a practicing healthcare professional with a career focused on institutions serving historically underrepresented populations. We're delighted to have her at our college. Before she came to us, she was Associate Dean of the College of Agriculture, Urban Sustainability and Environmental Sciences at the University of the District of Columbia in Washington, D.C. And this was a role that she had been in since 2016. She was also acting chair of the Department of Health, Nursing, and Nutrition at that institution. And that department actually covered programs in health education, nursing, respiratory therapy, and speech language pathology. Some of these programs you have in our school. Before serving in that role of Associate Dean, she'd actually been chair of the Department of Nursing at that institution for 6 years. And so she comes to us with a great deal of academic experience. She also comes to us with a great deal of industry experiences and has a deep understanding of interprofessional health sciences and health services administration. She was indeed the director of clinical operations at Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital in Washington, D.C., where she managed a budget of more than $10 million and had oversight for a number of units at that hospital. And indeed, prior to that experience, she also worked at 3 other major hospitals in Washington, D.C., D.C. General Hospital, Georgetown University Hospital, and then we also had the Children's National Medical Center, all of this in the Washington, D.C. area. She's a published author and scholar. I wouldn't take the time to go through all of this, but she comes to us with impeccable credentials. She has a doctorate degree in management and a Master of Science in Healthcare Administration from the University of Maryland, College Park, and also a Bachelor of Science degree in Biology from Southern University in New Orleans. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Elgloria Harrison, who also has a degree, by the way, a master's degree in communication from Purdue University. Very well qualified, and we're so delighted to have her at our institution. And you will be very delighted to listen to her. Please keep all of the questions, as Robert mentioned, and then she'll be in a position to address them as you hear from her today. Welcome to Lehman College, all of you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Provost Swoop. So I really appreciate that warm welcome. I am going to bring up my slide before I get started. Can I do that? Let's see, share my screen. They've given me the abilities to be able to share my screen so that I can actually share some of this with you. I am really excited about, being before all of you in the as alumni, given that Dr. Russo just talked about a number of the schools that I have gone to, and I do realize that as many of our schools reach out to formulate relationships with their alumni, I am one of those that, I have conversations with the alumni affairs persons at Southern University in New Orleans. I have it at University of Maryland. I have it at Purdue. And I do find that that is a really, really good way for me to give back to the schools that I have been so able to gain education from those. Now, before I get going on my alumni, what I call is an alumni briefing, I do want to introduce, I saw that there are a number of other deans in the audience tonight, and I do want to make mention that Dr. Pamela Mills is the Dean of Natural Science and Social Sciences is here. Dr. James Mahone, Dean of Arts and Humanities is here. I don't see Dr. Serene Gene, who's the executive in charge of School of Education, but I definitely want to acknowledge him. And I also want to acknowledge Dr. Jane McCallum, who's the Dean of School of Continuing Professional Education. So I'll tell you something really funny. So before you came on board, I learned that this was the first opportunity to do this. And I said, okay, so put the new dean on first, right? So let's just get this all started. So if she makes all the mistakes, then we know what we can do better. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna do what I need to do to really, to share with you all that this is a great opportunity for us to really highlight, for me for sure, to really highlight the work that we're doing in school and to say to you as the alum why your presence is so important for us. And so I'll go to my next slide. I always believe that alumni engagement is you, meaning you are the graduates of Lehman College. The graduates of Lehman College, if you are successful, Lehman College is successful. I believe that you are at the heart of the institution. I read somewhere that it said, it is like, raising children. If those of us that have children, this is a long-term process, meaning, you start out in kindergarten, you get through, elementary school, you go to high school. You never leave your parents, right? You never leave. You're always with us, either with us in our heart and mind. So your graduates, your success really is Lehman's success. And that is why I thought it was very an opportunity for me to really begin to cultivate that relationship. I am new in the New York area. I am loving my time in the New York area. I thought I would never have said that. I have been in the Washington, D.C. area for the last 30 years. I really like Washington, D.C., although the last few years have been a little bit of traumatic experience for us, but we are over that now. And now that I have come here. So I find that the work that I did in Washington, D.C. clearly prepared me for much of the work that I believe I will do here at Lehman College. So what does alumni engagement mean? And I You know, as an educator, oftentimes we always want to define what that means. You know, so this was a definition I ran across, and I thought that it was pretty appropriate for what I wanted to get across to each of you that are joining us today. And that is, alumni engagement is a level of attraction, a connection, an affection, the influence an alumnus will have with their alma mater over time. So, you know, if you think about it, it's dating, it's getting it, it's courting, it's then getting into the dating scene, it's then deciding that you're going to perhaps get engaged, and then eventually you're going to get married. So if you wanted to have a parallel, that is what I was thinking about when I said, oh, this reminds me of when I was married, right? This is the kind of things that you want to do. You want to have these long-term relationships with someone that is going to be very beneficial and very meaningful for you throughout your entire life. And I think that that's really what alumni mean. You know, I get routine, you know, I oftentimes remember my undergraduate work at Southern University in New Orleans and how meaningful that was to get me on the path to really higher education. I think that there were a number of teachers there that really influenced my thinking over time and my abilities to persevere over time. And I think that many of us in our undergraduate education can also reflect back on those times in our lives that one teacher or that two teachers were able to really have a major influence on the things that we would do from our lives from that point forward. And so that is where I believe alumni engagement, or the work that, you know, you will help us to do over time, is so, so very important. So why are you important? And I personally think you are important because you will help us to build our Lehman brand. And that will always help us to grow our reputations. And Lehman, I have learned to have a strong appreciation because this is a community very much like any other that I have actually experienced. It's a warm and it's a caring community in the midst of a large system. So if we were not a part of the CUNY system, Lehman College would really be, you know, kind of a showcase, because everyone that I have met at Lehman College has been such a warm and inviting figure for me. And I no doubt that if I were on campus right now and the students were back on campus, I can imagine myself walking down that walkway and really coming in contact with students that are just so excited about being in school. And so I think that as an alum, those are the things that we want people to help us to continue to create that buzz for us. And what that does, it helps us to increase our applications. You know, just like if you had a very good experience, word of mouth is very powerful. And that power helps us to you know, facilitate other people coming to our programs. And while I'm going to be a little selfish and say I'm really interested in you coming into my school, I won't not forget that my colleague deans offer other opportunities for all of our students to participate. So while I am here on behalf of my school, I'm actually also on behalf of the college, because there are plenty of opportunities across the college for all of us to be able to help one another. You will open doors for us. You know, we have many, many students who are interested in doing what you've done. If you've had successful careers, we really want the next generation, the younger generation, those that haven't graduated, to be able to go walk into those same doors that you were afforded as well. You will help us with internships. You will also help those younger you know, students that are interested in moving into the various different careers. We hope very much that that will be something that you would help us to do. You will also help us to weather the financial storms by your giving. We certainly, you know, do know that many universities will always rely heavily sometimes on outside or external dollars that we actually give. And we hope that at some point, those will be things that you would want to be able to assist our college with. And that could be in the form of money, in the form of time or volunteer opportunities, in the form of coming to events that we will hold like today, like the events that we are having today. We certainly hope that those are things that you will continue to support us with. And then, so our 90-30, or when I came to Lehman College in August, I was very much aware of our strategic plan, our 90-30, and how my school, the School of Health Sciences, Human Services, and Nursing, will play an important role in that. And one of the things that I've set for myself is, how will we increase the number of our students? How will we increase the number of internships? And certainly, you are one part of my, plan. And what I plan to do on a regular basis is to really invite you to participate with our programs. I have met with members of our institutional team, so that they can, I know that I have said to our chairs, we really do want to regularly make sure that all of our alums are very much aware that our programs exist and what events we have. I would like to invite you to volunteer at our events, because I believe that those are key opportunities for you to get to know us and for us to get to know you. I want to invite you to share with our students that are currently in our programs your own experiences, your experiences with Lehman, your experience in the business world, your experiences in your career. Those are the kind of things that our students really, really are very interested in hearing, because then they can position in their own mind, I can do this as well. And if I get it right, and I say if I get it right, and I should say when I get it right, I will never have to ask you to give, because giving will be a decision you will make because of your relationship with us, with my school, with our students. You will find that I want to have an inviting program, so that you will feel strongly that you are a part of our program. And that is one of the things that I want to be able to cultivate over the time that I'm here at Lehman College, and that I get to know each and every one of you. And I don't know how many that is, but it will be my desire to get to know each and every one of you, and how you can really help me do a better job in my school, facilitating my school to be the best it can be. So the last thing I will say to you is who we are in my school. These are the different programs that we have and the different degrees that we offer. And certainly, in any of these, the schools that we have a number of activities across all of our programs. And I would say I'm so very proud of all of our programs. They have done some amazing work. We have, in fact, started to really take a look at our website to really start to highlight some of the real great activities that our faculty and our students are doing. And I really want to invite you to be a part of that. And so I'll end with, if you wanted to get in touch with me, my email address is there. I was also said that if you didn't remember my email address, because my name is a little unusual, you can also contact us through alumni relations, and that is alumni.relations@lehman.cuny.edu. And clearly, if you use either one of these addresses, we will be able to get back to you, so that you and I could stay, or can start to form a relationship that I think is going to be one that you will be well served by. And clearly, I believe that you would serve the school immensely. And I will stop there and stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Dean Harrison.
Yes.
No, continue.
So I stopped sharing my screen so that I can then open up the call or the Zoom meeting for any questions that I can answer, or if I don't have the answer, Dr. Russo is here. He might be able to answer. Otherwise, I can get back to you. But I am so very happy and very pleased for those of you that were able to join us today. And so I'm hoping that this won't, for me, be the last. I would like very much to take an opportunity to actually, to touch base with those that are alums for our school and start to have a, maybe one-on-one conversation with you so that I could feel free to, oh yeah, Robert, it said, feel free to put your questions in the chat and I'd be very happy to answer any questions for you or to arrange a meeting where we actually can sit down and have a conversation. And maybe there are, some ideas that you can have or questions that I can ask, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you.
So let's now we'll address a few questions if anyone has a question. The first question is, what exciting things are happening in the nursing program?
What exciting things are happening in the nursing program? I would tell you there are lots of exciting things happening in the nursing program. And the one thing that I know is exciting, and I'm going to actually pump this up really, really high, and that is this fall, we actually accepted the first cohort of the DNP, the Doctor of Nurse Practice. And I just think that of all of the programs in the Bronx, that is going to be one of those programs that's really going to be a very big niche for us. Not that our undergraduate, generic, our accelerated nursing program, our FNP program are not great programs, and they are. But we really, want to make sure that our nursing students, our nursing alums are really trained at the highest level of their practice. And that is in line with, what the institution of medicine would like us to, would like all nursing programs to do. And I am so very pleased that, Lehman was able to get that program started. It has started, and we have a very large cohort of students in that program. And I'm looking very forward that, in next year, when we get our second cohort of students in there, that we will continue to grow that program. So that's really what's exciting. The second thing that's exciting about the nursing program is that they are our heroes, because in this pandemic that we have to thank them in the work that they've done in these trying times. They have actually done an amazing job of just kind of hanging in there. It has been very, I think, mentally tough for a lot of practitioners. I am by practice or profession I'm a respiratory therapist, and I feel strongly that if I were, still practicing at the bedside, that I would be right alongside with my nursing faculty member or my nursing practitioners. But that's what I think is very exciting about nursing.
Great. The next question is, how is enrollment being affected by COVID?
Well, so I think this year we took in the largest of our freshman class. So we had, I want to say, 900 and some odd new freshman students. I think the one thing we want to do is to make sure we keep those 900 and some odd freshman students, that they would move from freshman to their sophomore year, because that's the one thing in most schools that we want to, assure ourselves is that our students stay with us. We have been very fortunate at Lehman for these, this particular last semester. I joined us in August, and I am so pleased when I hear the reports that we really have increased our number of students. Where we have increased our number of students is what I'm told is in our graduate level programs. And our graduate level programs are, the one area that I know personally that we should really be able to increase the numbers as we move down the pike. I know that Dr. Russo has said to me on a number of occasions institutions, this is an area where we actually could, really make a wonderful opportunities to really increase the number of students in that. And I absolutely agree with that. I agree with it because graduate programs, the master's level programs are really, really very smart things. When universities invest in master's program, they actually are invested in, it's not significant of resources that have to be outlaid. So it's a really easy way to actually get a number of students that have graduated either from our university or other universities through a master's program. And if we're smart about that, we would make it where there's less barriers for students that have a bachelor's degree in whatever they have a bachelor's degree in, but want to get a master's degree. I think we should be able to capitalize on that. So I think enrollment for right now is very good, and I'm really pleased. Given the pandemic, I guess it could have been worse, but we really are in a very good shape for that.
Great, thank you.
Harrison,
Yes.
let me just add two quick things. You may speak to this as well. This is we've been very fortunate. Back to the question that was asked about exciting things going on at the college. You recall construction work began this semester.
Oh.
New nursing building actually.
Oh, yes, yes.
And so you might want to speak to that. And then there is also the CUNY Institute for Health Equity.
So Dr. Wuso has reminded me. I actually went to the campus the first time. I went to the campus and I met the campus director, or the campus facility director, Ms. Robin. And we went to say, here's where the new nursing building is going to be. Of course, she also sent me lately the blueprints. And so I saw what the colors of the building is going to look like, and what the carpet or what the walls are going to look like. So that is a really exciting thing, to come into an institution where we have or will be breaking grounds for a new nursing building. Certainly the nursing program is very excited about that as well. And I think that's one thing to be very proud of. The second one, as Dr. Wuso mentioned, is the CUNY Institute CUNY Institute of Health Equity. And we have just hired a new program director for the CUNY Institute of Health Equity. Her name is Dr. Maria Isabel Rodos Prosser, and she comes to us with a lot of experience in driving research. This is an area that I think is very, very important, particularly for us in the Bronx, where we are looking at health equity, health disparities, and this is where the Institute could really make a huge impact on looking at areas in the Bronx that we are not doing so well in. There is some evidence that, the Bronx is at the bottom of the list, and we would hope very much that we would turn that around. But there are things that there are measures that we want to look at that we are doing much, much better at. And so we want to highlight some of that research in that particular area. So thank you so much for mentioning that, because while I can get very excited about the DNP program, there are still a lot of things across the campus in my school that we actually are doing, and we're doing a very good job in that area.
Thank you. There's a question from Stephanie. The hearing for FNP reaccreditation was on Friday. Any updates on the accreditation process?
Yes, so thank you for asking that question. We did have the hearing for the FNP program, so thank you for asking. We believe that the hearing went very well. We won't know, the results just yet, but we did. I think we did a yeoman job of really defending our case. We think that the hearing committee, who is an objective body, heard both sides of the story, and we think that they will make a fair judgment call. Again, we don't know, they did not give us the outcome at that meeting. They did tell us that their outcomes of what their recommendations will be in writing, and that will come to the president and to the provost and of course to Dr. Georges, who's the director of nursing. But we think it went well. We think that we had a good case. We think that I personally want to believe that we will be successful in our defense.
Awesome. Flora would like to welcome you, Dr. Harrison, and she is also looking forward to working with you.
Okay.
She wanted to know, are there classes in-house or just online? And what about clinical? Are students able to go to the hospital?
Okay. So there are a couple of things that she asked, and so we right now do not have a major presence in our school on campus. There may be other deans that could say that there are some classes that are on campus, but we don't at this point. All of our theory classes are actually remote. However, the nursing program, if we're talking about the nursing program, and to some extent, we also should be talking about the nutrition or the diet, food, and nutrition program. In some of those cases where there are clinical presence, some adjustments have been made for those students to either go to the hospital in very limited form. And so we have, in fact, Dr. Georges has in fact made arrangements for small cohorts of students to go to the, to clinical sites. So we have done some of those things. And we have to be very cautious about that, because as students are in hospitals and they are exposed or they have to be very careful while they're in the hospital setting so that they are not exposed. That would be what I would not want any of my students in any of the areas to be exposed. For the nutrition students, there's a very limited presence on campus when they need to take exams. And so some of those exams have to be done on the campus. And so we arrange with public safety and the gatekeepers for those students to come to campus on a specified day. So those are the very limited times that we have. I will say, I see that Dr. Cheryl Smith-Gable is here from speech language pathology. They've been very fortunate to be able to do telehealth. And that's not, not all of our programs are as fortunate as to be able to do a lot of the things online. So, but we have been monitoring all of our students to make sure that they're safe and that they're well. But that has been our approach. I do believe that that's probably going to be our approach as we enter the spring semester. And so that's kind of where we are with this for right now.
Gloria, you can also speak to the, now you mentioned Cheryl's name, so that struck a chord with me.
Okay.
The speech clinic and the opportunities there for our students for internship and billing and so on. That also provides a service to the community, and
they do. And I have had Dr. Smith-Gable. I have had many conversations with Dr. Gable, and there she is. Dr. Gable and I have, been we've been very involved in the students. The one thing I will point out about the speech language pathology that I think Dr. Gable would say, we just implemented this, we have been thinking about how do we make sure that students can get their observational credits or observational hours. That is very important for a lot of students. And we have in fact invested in a software or internship software where students could actually be able to get a lot of that preclinical training before they go into the actual clinical training. Because to get into a graduate level program for speech language pathology, you'll need some of these observational hours. And I believe, Cheryl, it's 25 observational hours. I'm hoping that I'm saying that correctly. 25 observational hours. This is just a test, just to make sure that I'm hearing all of my directors and things like that. So we've been able to be very successful with that. And we believe that even after COVID-19, we will continue to do a lot of those things. We have the speech hearing clinic has offered lots of opportunities for diagnostic testing for our clients in the Bronx area. I did learn that we are a referral from Montefiore's Hospital, so we're getting a lot of we're hoping to when the COVID-19 is over, we will continue to be able to offer this service, and we're right now offering the service online. And before, they tell me before I arrived that the clinic was a very bustling, very vibrant place, and we're hoping to get back to that. But in the interim, we're still a hustling, bustling place, because even though we are not physically on campus, we are still providing a service in the Bronx for clients in this particular area, in a number of different areas that our service, our clinical educators offer that service to our community.
Speaking of community, the next question is, how does your school interact with the broader community?
So that's a very good question, which I think is one of the real reasons why I believe the working with our alumni is actually going to be something that's very important to me and to to all of us. I do know that of late, this is through my associate dean, Dr. Jones, Jay Jones, introduced me to a number of community partners. That's a really good thing, because I'm actually a community researcher. That's one of the things that I find it's very, very important to me, to really go out into the community, to really be able to work with the community, ask the community what it is that they need, and then we would actually be able to, to develop interventions that are more to what the community needs. I am not a big fan of going into the community and telling the community what they need. Rather, I'm very interested in working with the community about the things that they think are very important. Of late, we actually, the president was kind enough to be able to introduce myself and Dr. Rodel Prosser to Mr. Marco Crespo, who's now the Senior VP at Montefiore Hospital for Community Engagement. So I no doubt that, I am going to have a huge presence, hopefully, in the Bronx area, in the community, with a lot of those types of connections that I am beginning to learn and to beginning to have, these, I'm hoping, very long-term relationships with.
Thank you. So we promised you guys an hour, so I will now turn it over to Dr. Nwosu for closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Robert. This has been very, very informative. I want to thank Dean Harrison for taking the time to share with us, and indeed for the very positive direction she has presented about the future of the school and the programs within the school. I also want to thank the alumni who came and who asked those excellent questions. Without those questions, it would not be really an engagement, and you took time out of your very busy schedule to join us. Dean Harrison has essentially opened the doors. I do hope that this will not be the last opportunity. Please send her email, engage with her. We will find additional ways in which we will continue to share with you things that are going on within the school and in the larger college as well. Lehman will not be Lehman without your support, without your engagement. And we do hope that this will be one in a series of those opportunities we will continue to have with you. This is your institution. Because you've graduated doesn't mean it's not yours.
That's right.
Indeed, provided that strength and the legs upon which you are standing as you make progress in the various works of life that you're part of. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank our colleagues from the college who joined us this evening, our deans, our associate deans, and our faculty and department chairs in the school who are also with us this evening. And then finally, to Robert and the team in the advancement division, and Vice President Ebersol, who is also with us this evening. Daniel and Tara, thank you so much for putting these events together. And please be well and stay safe and have a great evening, all of you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
everyone
much.
for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.